Today's job on the car is to sort out the outboard mounting holes for the MX5 seats. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get stuck in. Today we are going to be working on the seat assembly again. So yesterday I made up this little sheet steel tool, if you like, little simple tool with 4 holes in. It mounts the MX5 runners in. These are stock runners. They're totally standard, not modified them in any way, shape or form. The key to this being quite nicely, so it's not bolted down. Yeah, it's not moving. It's not moving anywhere. Why is that? The reason is those pegs there with the points on. They are location features that everybody seems to remove as soon as they start to modify these seats. But as you can see there's 2 holes in the floor, one there and one there, and that represents the 2 different positions. And you can see that, so you just go straight into that hole. There you go, dropped in, and that's enough of a location to give me a repeatable datum point for mounting the seats in and out of the car. There, just mark those out. I can lift out that as a little assembly. So this is the underside of the MX5 seats. These are the M8 bolts that go around there and actually hold the subframe in position, which are these. So that's the way they go. So they're mounted like that on the underside of the seat. So in order for me to retain the orientation of these whilst they're in the car, then what I need to do is to make a little jig. Very simple jig. It's going to be out of a piece of this sheet galvanized steel I've left over from the fabricating oven, so that will fit there and that'll fit there. So basically there's a hole in each corner with a rather large relief in the middle to take care of that. And then what I can do, I can bolt this to the underside of the seat, and then I can bolt this to the subframes when I'm moving them around inside the car. So that's the plan. So you simply mark the position with some tape and just go over the holes with a bit of a pencil. So now I'm going to pull that off and transfer it to the sheet metal. So here you can see I've made the plate roughly to fit. It's clear in the hump in the middle. Just use tin snips just to cut it out so as it fits nicely. Marked out the top 2, which was quite easy to do, and I put the bolts in there and just nipped them up. So then what I've done is I put masking tape over the holes underneath here, and you can just see there the masking tape, so clearly know the center of the hole. And what I've done is I've just put a line through the center in a vertical and horizontal direction, and transferred that line onto the front of the paper here. So you can see I was slightly out with that one, but the center where the lines cross, that's where I shall make the center punch, and I shall drill the holes for these 2 mounting points at the back here. So that's the next job to do. So what we have is a simple piece of sheet steel. This is a bit of galvanized steel. It's relieved in the middle to miss the seat, and as of yesterday I mounted it to the seat, so I knew exactly what the positions were for the seat bolts that bolt directly to the runners. And what this simple piece of tooling does is it keeps the runners perfectly aligned as if they were sat on the seat, as if they were bolted to the underneath of the seat. I've simply bolted this little piece of tooling to the seat runners using the standard seat bolts and these riv nuts, M8 riv nuts, just finger tight. That's all they need to be, and it holds it nicely in place. So that's going to allow me to work on these and attach the seat runners to the floor without having the seat in the way. See, if you look carefully at the seat runners, then this is obviously the way it was mounted in the MX5. This runner here is dog-legged inboard slightly, so that hole, that mounting hole, is not in line exactly with the rear one. The other side, they're quite nice. That one's perfectly in line with the one at the front, so that's fine. So you can't really do a drop check from that side to this side and compare it to the front because of this, the way it's dog-legged in. So that's the reason why I've made this piece of sheet steel up, because that fits nicely to the bottom of the seat, so that I know exactly the right position for the four seat bolt mounting, for the seat mounting bolts where they attach to the runners. And then when I come to do the other side, I just take the sheet metal off, invert it, and it will do the other side. So because it's directly the opposite of the driver's side, the passenger side is opposite the driver's side. Because that there, you can see it there, that's the seatbelt mounting bracket, and obviously it's on the other side on the passenger seat. So this enables me to keep that distance from there to there exactly the same as if it was just bolted to the seat, but the seat is not on the runners at this point in time. So now what I can continue to do, I can drill the holes through the floor and look at how I'm going to actually bolt these to the chassis. So just while we're talking about that, I've relieved the floor in these areas here, and you can see, yeah, there's my fingers there. So that's the edge of the chassis rail that runs along the outside of the tub, and again at the back there. So I'll be making some form of bracket which comes off here to pick up underneath those holes, front and back, to be able to bolt straight through to a bracket that's welded directly to the chassis. So that's easy. This other side is a bit more difficult because it's so close to the actual chassis. I don't know at the minute because I've not took as much floor away, but I think this black line represents the edge of the chassis. So that hole is just inside the chassis. So I need to be a bit creative as to what I do with that. And yes, that black line there, that represents the chassis. So that hole there is sitting quite nicely on the chassis, because the chassis, the center rail, curves round slightly as it goes towards the back. So that's an easy one. That's in the middle of the chassis. That one is not so easy. So I need to think about what I do with that one. With these seat runners, my ambition was to keep them completely standard and not have to modify them in any way. But as you can see how this is panning out, it's not looking very good. Mainly due to the fact that the position of the standard seat when it's in the car and the seat runners are put in, the holes that bolt the seats to the floor and ultimately to the chassis are simply not in the ideal position. So it looks like I may end up having to modify the seat runner, but not in the way that a lot of other people do. So I think this is a bit, there's a bit more thought needs to go into this at this stage. So this will be the subject of a second video.